Hopefully I've done this right. If I did it right, it'll all work out. If it didn't, that's the way it goes. Well, we're streaming somewhere. All right. So, hey, welcome everybody. Welcome to the SoundBroker Mastermind Roundtable. We're going to try to call it the Mastermind Roundtable. We're a bunch of industry executives in the concert, live touring industry, install industry, come together to share ideas, news, tips, tricks, so that we can all be here when the COVID generation starts to ease. And now with all the good news that's out, and there is some good news, hey, we got a lot of things to be happy for, and we got a lot of things to share today. One thing I will say, just a little bit of housekeeping. Just remember, everybody here is offering their own opinions. It may be fact, it may not be fact. It's up to you to check it out. If we talk about anything medical, no one here is a doctor, so even if we were, we're not going to give you any free advice. So that's it. So just make sure that whatever we say, whatever we hear, whatever you do, check it out yourself. Don't take our word for it. This is just an entertainment show. There you go. The other thing that I will say is that for those people in the panel who are here, do me one favor. Wait till somebody finishes talking before you jump in. What I found out last week when I was editing the show, too many people were over talking other people, so I had a hard time editing it down, so I didn't do it. There you go. With that in mind, I really want to thank you all for coming. Please remember, if you're watching it on YouTube or Facebook, you could send us a DM, a link, and we will invite you to the Zoom meeting so you could be part of the panel and share your voice. A lot of times we don't have the opportunity to go to the chat window to check that out. So this is just the housekeeping stuff. And with that in mind, we have only a few more shopping days for Christmas. And I would like to invite you all to be join in and participate and have a good time. And that's really what it is. We're trying to have a good time in making the best of a bad situation. And you know what's amazing? This is the 30th one. This is the 30th SoundBroker Mastermind. So we've reached some sort of miracle goal, if that's possible, that we've made it this far. And along with the Pfizer vaccine, and now Moderna's coming out. So has anyone in this group been privy to any inside information about getting a shot? Anybody? All right, well, let's see. By show of hands, who's going to get the shot as soon as it's available to you? You know, I don't know if you saw my newsletter. Basically, I was talking about this earlier, about how I liken this shot to these two guys, you know, because there's anti-vaxxers and they don't want it, you know, and I liken it to these two guys that are in camping when a bear comes upon their tent. One guy jumps up barefoot, runs out, starts running down the path to get away from the bear. And the other guy laces up his sneakers, and the other guy lays back. What are you doing? You outrun a bear? And the guy says, hey, I don't have to outrun the bear. I only have to outrun you. And with that in mind, I'm going to get that vaccine as soon as it's possible. Now, I want to share something with you very personal right now. And what I have found is that I watch the news and I see people talking about COVID and the death count going crazy and how many cases. And then I see these other people talking about, oh, I won't wear a mask. You're taking away my rights, blah, 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 all that stuff. And this week I had the realization, without a doubt, that COVID is just another word until someone you love gets stricken by it. And I'm not talking about just getting a common cold. I'm talking about it has to be put on a ventilator. And all of a sudden, some of these other comorbidity, whatever it is, other things like other functions that happen to your body that slow down, like if you have diabetes or you're obese or whatever. And all of a sudden you're on a ventilator and they're worried about you of surviving. And then as a friend, or a lover, or all of a sudden you're devastated because there's this person that you cannot help at all whatsoever. It's up to the goodness of the universe, of religion, of God, of the doctors, of everything to bring that person who you love back to you. And then you've got to really hope that that person is not affected adversely, so that he is that same person that you loved and cherished and dreamt, you know, shared so many dreams and hopes and trips, that they're available to you and that they are still the same person that you love. So I want to share that, and I want to let you know that it's affecting me a great deal. And so I want you, I just want to share that with you, that it means a lot to me that you understand that COVID is, it could just break up your world just like that. And that's all there is to it. So I don't want to dwell on that. I'll keep you in the loop. I don't want to say more than that because we're all hoping and praying that he's going to survive, but I will definitely keep you in the loop on what happens. And the challenge is, of course, is that if you were just a little bit more cautious, you've got the vaccines right here. I mean, they're here. People are getting the first shots. People got those first shots, you know? What are you guys hearing out there in the world regarding the vaccines? Is anybody hearing anything?
Well, other than we're not going to get it for months or a month or two, depending on where you fit. I mean, I'm old enough to get it. I don't have underlying conditions, but my age will allow me to get it earlier. But most of the guys in this Zoom are going to be after me. So who knows when that's going to be.
Yeah, I can't say that I'm going to take the vaccine or not. I'm going to let this go for a couple of months because it's not even going to be available to us for a couple of months. So right. Depending on what I see over the next, I mean, theoretically, yeah, it should work. It should be a good thing. We should all take it. But you know what? There's so much weirdness right now, and it's just rolling out. So we're going to see who keels over in the next first 3 days of take. We just have to let this go for a month or two and see what happens. So I'm not saying I'm not going to take it. I probably will, but I'm reserving my judgment until I see how this all goes for a month or two.
Absolutely. That's the smart thing to do. You don't have a choice, really. You're not going to get it anyway.
No, right. You're not going to get it anyway. So just watch things and read things. And, I've read a lot of pretty scary stuff about it, but I've also read a lot of good stuff about it. And you have to sort of trust, AstraZeneca, which I've done tons of shows for, and Moderna, which but a lot of the players are pretty cool, and so it's probably fine, but I'm not ready to just across the board say yes yet. So, and I shouldn't need to be because we're not going to get it right away anyway. So.
Well, it seems to me you're one of those guys that are running down the road and watching me tie up my laces. That's it. So maybe I'll get eaten by the bear before I finish tying up my laces. I don't know. Anyway, also, by the way, so Walgreens, CVS, they're all erecting these substations. So when it does come out, there is going to be a way to get that vaccine out into the public very, very quickly, and which is a really good thing if you believe in the vaccine. So I think once you decide that you want to get it, it's going to be pretty simple for you to get. That's what I will say. And of course, it's going to eventually, what's going to happen as soon as the vaccine does become available, you're going to find people like airlines, for example, that are going to say, you're not getting on this plane until you have proof that you have the vaccine. Traveling outside the country, there's going to be countries that are going to prohibit you from entering them until you could prove that not only one, that you don't have COVID, but two, that you've taken the vaccine. Like, I'll give you an example. Right now in Thailand, they haven't had any COVID whatsoever, and the restrictions to get into Thailand were super difficult. Now they've released some of the challenges of getting into the country, and now people from Malaysia have gotten into the country, and now, of course, Thailand now has COVID. So now they're trying to run that backwards, but it's a little more difficult. And, but with that, and then of course there's, we need the rapid testing. Now, one of the things that I read about this week is that there is in Barcelona. And by the way, whenever I cover a news item, we will throw that link up into the chat so that you could actually grab it as well. But there is right now, Barcelona has hosted a concert for 500 residents, testing out a rapid test experiment. And that is something that is very exciting, because one of the things that we're going to need to do to get back into the concert business, we're going to have to be protective of one another. And the best way to do it is regarding getting a rapid test to make sure that you don't have COVID. So it seems like it's really working. And so Barcelona threw a free concert for 500 lockdown wear residents Saturday, but they had to pass a rapid COVID test. And it seems like more than 1,000 people gathered for the 500 seat show. So I think what that tells me and should tell you is that people are ready to get back to entertained. They are just absolutely ready to be entertained. So has anybody heard anything about that? Is this thing on? Testing.
Hey, Jan,
okay,
I'll jump in, Jan. So,
thank you, Jim Mingo. Thank you.
Here's what I'll say is, I know a lot of people probably don't know who I am, but I do deal with the touring industry quite often. This has always been a liability issue. If you throw a concert, somebody gets sick, somebody has major issues, obviously Live Nation, the venue, the promoter, everybody's liable. Once this vaccine in April comes available to the general public, it shifts the liability back on the public. And that's what we're waiting for, not tests. The rapid tests, I don't think are going to work. You have to get vaccinated. And if you saw the first nurse that got vaccinated on Monday morning, they gave her a card that said, you've been vaccinated. Here's your first shot on the 11th of December. Your second shot is it had the dates right on it. That's going to be your passport to having fun. That's what I see.
Yeah. Well, having said that, there's also another thing. It's called the All Secure Expo 2020, and that took place in September. And that took place in the UK. And there's a short 3-minute video that we'll put a link to in the show. But basically, these organizers during the COVID period, they showed ways to put on a convention without giving people COVID. And basically it was very impressive how they did it with distancing, staggering the entranceway, everybody wearing masks, all of those precautions that we're reading about. Evidently it went off without a hitch, and not one person came away with COVID. So we're now starting to come up with ideas, like, for example, this expo, and again, like I said, the link is in the chat, that will give us an opportunity to get back to work, which is very, very exciting, And then, of course, there's the movie shoots we were talking about. And then there's, that guy, what's his name? Tom Cruise, right? So right now he's going virtual all over the world because of basically 2 of the crew members on the shoot violated the protocol, and he went ballistic on that. Now, I personally haven't seen the video, but I hear it was full of, of a lot of expletives, he was super angry. Has anybody seen that in the room? Anybody?
I haven't seen it, but I heard it. I listened to it this morning, and I was
right.
It was pretty. He was screaming and hollering.
But he's kind of right. I mean, how much money is riding on those shoots?
Oh, you know what? You could believe what he's doing or what he's not doing, but he's right, because all these people are employed and so much money is on this. And if they, you got to take the precautions until we don't have to anymore, Right. And if that's what he says, it's his rig, it's his whole lot of things are his in his production company, then you follow the rules if you want to be there,
I haven't heard. Are most people siding with him or are they against him?
I listened to the recording this morning on one of the things that I listened to, and there wasn't many comments yet, so I should probably go back and.
How many people don't like the word fuck? Come on, he used it in every sentence. It was like, oh no, fuck this and fuck you and fuck.
Twice percent.
It was like, who would have thought? Here he was. You would see Mission Impossible, and you would think he would get shot in the arm. Fuck, but he doesn't say it in the movie. I don't know who thought he knew the words. That's about it. So you got to give him some credit for expletives. That's all I could say. But it's the point is that people are aware of what's going on, and the more we're aware, and the more we do our part to stop the spread, and that's going to put us all back to normal. And I think right now people are really dying to get, figuratively and literally, maybe a bad choice of words, to get back to seeing shows and live shows. And I also heard that in the South End in England, the government is sponsoring some of these what the West End shows, so that they're not filling up the theaters, and the government is supplementing the income to the theater owners and so that they could do some shows. Has anybody heard that? Nobody. Oh, well, I just might have made it up. You better do your research. Google it.
I have a handful of corporate shows that were slated between now and the summer that still haven't canceled yet. They're still holding dates. So, I mean, they're chomping at the bit to get back to, people want to get together and do their thing and network and have dinner and go to parties and play golf and make big decisions, whatever that is. So, yeah, I have a whole lot of stuff that's on my books for the spring now that hasn't gone away yet. So it's interesting.
Well, everybody is projecting right now that we're going back to work in the spring, and Live Nation is, EDC. That's a big concert. Ken, have you heard anything from the promoters of EDC at all?
Not yet. They're working on this wait and see day by day.
Yeah, I mean, it's, I think, I mean, if it was up to me, and I would go out and I want to go to a movie again. I miss going to movies. I miss going to concerts. I miss the element of it all.
Did anybody hear about AMC? Supposedly they went under, officially went under. Did anybody hear anything about that?
How long ago were you hearing this?
About a week ago, I read an article that they threw in the bat and said, you know what, we just can't do this anymore. We're going under. That wasn't the words. That wasn't the words that they used, but I was wondering if anybody had heard anything about that.
Oh, when you said go under, I thought maybe they opened up down in Australia or New Zealand.
No, I mean like threw in the bag, just quit.
Well, Tina's got Google right in front of her. She'll just check that out, and we'll see if we can find anything on that. But one of the things that's going on tonight at 6:30 tonight is Level Up, and Blake Shelton, Dave Matthews, Roger Daltrey. There are so many people involved in this live streaming event. It's mind blowing. Let's see who else is involved. Michael Ray, Jason Mars, Gavin DeGraw, Jimmy Allen. So, I mean, they've got over 25 performers that are going to be performing tonight in hope to support 12 million people in our industry. And I would like to watch a little bit. By the way, the link in the chat, if you want to watch it, if you actually do want to watch it, we'll have a link in the chat on how. I don't think it's being broadcast live on TV, is it? Does anybody know if it's? I don't think it's on TV.
Didn't CBS have a broadcast thing last night that was a support thing? They had like Sarah Bareilles and Yola and several other artists on it.
I didn't see it. Anybody see it? Anybody want to be a critique? Give a critique? Well, seeing I didn't see it, let me just tell you, it was a really marvelous show. Sarah was phenomenal. Had I would have seen it, I'm sure she would have been better, but I know she definitely puts on a good show, so basically that's, there's a lot going on. Who knows? Anyway, one of the other things that's going on, and speaking of TV, our man, Michael Strickland, has been really making the rounds. He's like a celebrity now. I don't know if we'll ever get him back in this room, but I will tell you, I will try to get him back next week, because next week it should be, everything should be done, and he could talk about his experience. He went before the subcommittee of manufacturing, trade, consumer protection, and he wasn't alone in that. There were other people that were there as well. David Fay from the Bushnell Center of the Performing Arts, Adam Hartke, owner of Cotillion and Wave, Ron Reftiti, I believe that's how to pronounce his name, from Patriot Management. Does anybody know who he is in the room? I'm sure he knows who he is. Pete Pantuso, president of American Business Association. Well, anyway, they went in front of this committee today, and they were fighting for us. They had statistics that, based on Polestar and other areas, that this industry has lost $30 billion, and it's affected 147,000 small businesses in our industry. So, you know, and his goal to going in front of these was basically to push for PPP, enhanced unemployment insurance, and restart, where he was hoping to get it to transpire in January. Also, Save Our Stages has a bill. They have 3 relief bills considered. So if any one of these bills pass, we're going to have a big win. And that's really, 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 really good. Plus, they're talking about PPP for another round of PPP and a $1,200 check for everybody. And finally, you got the Grim Reaper of the Senate saying, yep, we're very, very close. So this would be a nice, really nice way to go into Christmas. Don't you guys think?
Yep.
Okay.
I think it would be great, Jen.
Don't be afraid to share, guys. You know, I mean, it's not the Jan Landy show. That's for sure.
No, we need this to happen.
You know, and, you know, because we're all affected. Every one of us is affected. You know, it's like, you know, we're all in the live touring industry, and we're dealing with performers, we're dealing with all this stuff. And, you know, of course, one of the big sticking points has been liability. And we mentioned liability earlier again. You know, is it fair that if you go to a concert and you get COVID, you say, oh, I got it at the concert? How would you know you got it at the concert? I mean, how is it possible that that's where you know you got it? There's just no way. I just don't see it. I think they have. I think we need, as business owners, we need some form of protection. Otherwise, it could be a lot of, you know, frivolous lawsuits against us. You know, I mean, has anybody in the room been sued lately? Oh. So I don't mean to laugh.
I've been sued twice just this month already, and I just got another collections notice, and the lawyer just emailed me right now. So people are all filing all their lawsuits right now to get them on the books, I think.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, it's like, it's crazy out there. I mean, I was in a parking lot and minding my own business. And all of a sudden this guy, rather than, and I do this a lot myself, is sometimes you'll drive in a parking lot, you know, and you'll go through the cars rather than, you know, if there's like an opening, it's a big parking lot and the diagonal spots, but there's nobody there. So you go through it rather than hit the speed bumps. Well, one of these guys was doing this, only he was doing like about 35 miles an hour, and he plowed the rear end of my car. And when I did report it to the police and I had the guy's license and registration, they told me that it's really unusual now. We're getting so many hit and runs that it's unusual that somebody actually stopped and gave you their insurance papers. So it's a crazy time. We're going through a crazy time. Let's see what else. Let's see what else in the news do we have here? Anybody? Let's see. Oh, I know. Speaking of mental health, IATSE is having a seminar, a mental health and suicide prevention seminar. It will be an overview of tools and resources for mental and emotional well-being that are available to individuals seeking help for themselves and those for others. So that's a pretty worthwhile thing as well. Because like people are going through a very, very, very tough time right now. So any way that we can support them, and this is a good opportunity. You know, I think they say that more people commit suicide during Christmas than any other time of the year. So anything that could support people, especially in our industry, it's a wonderful thing. And again, we just put the link into the show. So anyway, that's all the news I have today, with the exception of one bit of good news. And this also comes from Michael Strickland. And basically, the holiday spirits, in regards to holiday spirits, this guy, Brent Sandrock and Rob Gibson, did some baking. And they baked all these gingerbread people and a gingerbread house and a gingerbread stage. And they have basically a concert being built up so that all of a sudden, you know, it's like, it's all gingerbread, but it's built up with screens and audiences and chairs and stages and roll in and road cases and all that. So it's really, really cool. I was watching it, you know, and it's really, you'll get a smile on your face by watching it. So again, the link is in the show. And so you can watch that. And the last thing that I have written down was about the Live Coalition. And they did a nationwide survey where they received over 1,400 responses from 43 states across the United States. And what did they say about that? Let's see if I can give you. Okay, so the average event professional who responded had about approximately 20 years in the industry. 33% of the industry professionals have lost 90 to 100% of their income streams beginning, and that's pretty amazing. And more than 80% of our businesses have lost more than 60% of their revenue. So this is all, I'm not going to go into it anymore. It's there for you. The link's in the show notes, and that's about all I have to say about it. So with that in mind, what can I tell you? I've covered everything that I want to cover regarding news. So does anybody have anything they want to say? Let's open the floor up to, just general discussion. Who wants to share something? Anybody? All right. Sean, what do you got?
Well, I wanted to talk insurance. We pay 6 figures in annual insurance premium. It's all due at the top of the year. So on January 1st, I have to write my insurance premium. I'm not going to get any of my premium back for this year until an audit takes place 6 to 12 months out. So I got the renewal, and I'm putting in at 90% down in revenue. And my policy's only dropped 50% in price. And it's expensive. Anyone have any best practices on negotiating with insurance companies? Rates are going up. They're limiting what they're even going to cover. It's going to be one of my most expensive things I have to come up with in January, having very little business.
Ken, you're smiling. I would see that you might have some information you want to share.
Yeah, the insurance company, I tried to get relief on stuff back in the summer, and they're like, well, you still have all the equipment at the same price and it's still in your possession, right? Then it needs to be insured, or you lower the price or cancel the insurance, which isn't much of an option there. I talked to someone else that said that they were going with their insurance company and they raised their rate because 100% of their equipment was in their warehouse and not on the road. And the liability was a higher, incident. Instead of $1 million, $1.5 million per incident, it was could be a higher one. So they raised his rate because of that.
Yeah, insurance, you can't live with it and you can't live without it. That's for
my
sure.
Trucking insurance went up, but my mileage driven is going to go down by 90%. I'm not even getting a tour. So they want more money for my trucks and insurance this year than they did last year.
Yeah. Well,
I can understand. Be just sharing a pressure point.
No. Yeah, this year was an interesting year. I made 6 figures this year. Unfortunately, there are 2 decimal places in that number, but it's what can I tell you?
I got something I'll throw out there. I know we can't really buy gear, but I'm just curious how many in the industry saw the Music Tribe announcement that they're cutting all of brick and mortar out and all of the music stores out, going direct to Amazon, Sweetwater, a few online retailers, and the new Midas HD96 is supposed to be out, and I guess we're supposed to buy it off of Amazon.
That would be, I see a lot of consolidations. I heard, and I'm an Avid dealer, and I got a letter from Avid that they're going to make some major changes with the dealership network. Of course, that happens oh so often. Harman did it 2 years ago, and then basically Avid is doing it, and some other Ken Porty, I'm sure you've seen that before in your career, where all of a sudden, and you work with D&B, so that they made a big change like that too as well. So it happens. It does happen.
Past year or two, the one that's there is Avid seems to do it every couple of years. They have a big, replan of what they're doing and how they rule stuff. The thing with that scares me about Music Tribe is that if I was buying, spending 25,000 on a console, how good do you feel about finding somebody who knows how it works, service? Is there anybody to call when you have an act that gets stuck in the middle of Kansas and during the show the console stops? Who do you call and ask of how to get around? Or if I was a tour, how do I want to know how everything works on it? Who's going to do the training, understand everything, you can get around stuff to say, yeah, I'm good to take it out on tour.
Yeah, that's a great point, Ken. And with the Starin not being involved anymore with the Music Tribe on the distribution, it doesn't surprise me that they would pull a move with the Amazon. But the big thing with them 10 years ago was the brick and mortar and having, the support for the tour. They even put a place in Vegas, just specifically for that. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out for Music Tribe.
That was that started out 2 regimes ago in Music Tribe. That was way back in other people lived there, they had more people at that time.
Well, it's kind of interesting. I just want to point something out. Okay. So Jim Mingo is with the music people. But didn't you just change the name of your company? Is that correct?
Well, it's TMP Pro is the pro division, but we did get bought by Jam and DCC out of Ireland. So yeah, that's new.
So basically, so what I want to say is that Jim's company is a distributor as well. And Don Hartley, this is his first time on screen with us. And Don works for a manufacturer's rep firm, if I'm correct.
Yeah, that's correct.
So we got 2 different perspectives right now going into the room, which is really good to have this kind of perspective from those 2 different angles. So Don, what are you seeing out there from your perspective as a manufacturer's rep?
Well, it's just slow, and really my role has really just been support. So I've just been picking up the phone and talking to people, and I encourage everybody to do that during these crazy times. Instead of just sending emails or a text or a social media post, I'm picking up the phone a lot more, and I'm just talking to folks. It's not as much processing purchase orders as it is offering training or design support or any type of demos that I can do. But with the way things are, it's pretty slow, frankly.
Yeah.
One of the problems that I've had is that if you do get a sale, I had a church sale, and then the problem is when to get the product to them, because if it's coming from Scotland or somewhere in Europe, trying to get space on a plane, since there's very little planes flying, trying to get freight moved is very difficult. It couldn't take 2 to 2.5 weeks to get it shipped.
Half my day is trying to find an alternate product that I can ship in a faster period of time. That's my new job.
It's very difficult. There's an install going on, which one of my members and friends wanted to get some Yamaha part, and it took, even though they had it in stock, they were small, they were minor pieces, they were switches and bridges, and basically it almost took a month for them to ship it from Orange County, which is, in California to Las Vegas. And the TO boxes, we don't even know when they're coming in. So
Yamaha didn't ship a product for 3 months, from the end of March till July. And we're still trying to figure out, it seems to be that the county they were in did not deem them an
essential business.
And literally shut them down. And I heard through the grapevine that they literally hired rental trucks, 22-foot rental trucks, and took gear out of the warehouse and drove it to the Chicago warehouse, just because the Chicago warehouse they could ship. I feel so bad for Yamaha. They really got hurt by this.
Yeah, that pipeline, that bottleneck in the pipeline has held up a couple of my projects, because if they couldn't get the stage box, then they wouldn't need to be able to order the mics right now. So they'll do it. It kind of has a domino effect in a sense.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, when Sure's out of SM58s and SM57s, you know we got big problems.
How is the, all that chip manufacturer in Japan that had the fire in that plant? That's
Big hit.
affected a bunch of stuff too. The other
Absolutely.
one, you haven't heard much more, but do they know the cause of the fire? What went on, or was this industrial espionage?
I haven't heard anything. The other thing was that container ship that hit the rough seas and almost lost all its containers. I don't know if you heard that one. I know that there was a couple of our manufacturers had 3 or 4 containers on there, and that was the first containers they had taken out of Shenzhen, and they're now another month behind. Just 2020, just it keeps coming.
Oh, it's been this has actually been the worst year of my life, and one thing I've learned a long time ago is if you think that you've hit rock bottom, there's still a place to go. So I try to be optimistic that look, I don't want to say what else could happen. I'm just prepared for whatever might come my way. Who knows what's going to happen. Fortunately, we only have another 15 days to the end of the year, and I'm just hoping that 2021 is a much, much better year than 2020 for all of us, But the most important thing, though, is maintaining your health, both physically and mentally. And that's one of the reasons why we do this, because we're sharing ideas, but we want to keep it on a positive level. Unfortunately, sometimes it becomes really difficult to just keep it on a positive level. Well, just look at my hair. I mean, it's hard. I'm telling you, Don, I like what you've done with your hair, though, I have to say.
Yeah, I've had to change things up a little bit. Hey, maybe the next thing that can happen this year for us could be aliens, maybe, or something, at least a little more exciting than this COVID.
Yeah.
You're right, though. It could get a lot worse. And I'm thankful for, my friends and family and guys like you that we support each other. And that's what I meant earlier about picking the phone up and, calling your friends and calling your family and tell them that you love them. And, that's what we can do. And it is going to get better. It will get better.
Yeah, it's the most important thing. It's really the most important thing that you could do is to show the people that you love how much you love them, because we're one second away from fate. We're always, every one of us. It could be a good fate. It could be that you win the lottery and then you don't want to speak to your family anyway. That could be one thing. Or it could be something else. There's always that. What is it? What are they? It's the bus scenario. Oh, you got hit by a bus. I wonder how many people actually do get hit by buses. That became such a popular expression. I mean, I guess at one point in time, you had to really be careful not to be hit by a bus.
I've been thrown under the bus before.
Yeah, that's right.
Same here.
So what else is going on? Anybody have anything new they want to share? I want to put somebody on the spot right now. I have a friend in this room, and he has been an Android user since day one. But guess what, David?
Yeah, I've crossed over. We'll have to see
the light. I've seen the light.
Not yet. I mean, there's definitely pluses and minuses on both sides, and it's just going to have to see where the balance is. I'm missing some of the things that I could do on my Android phone already. At the same time, I'm loving some of the things I can do on the iPhone. So we'll have to see which is more important to me.
My wife feels the same way. I've always been an iPhone user, and we got a good deal when we updated and got married and combined things. So it was buy one iPhone, get one free at AT&T. And so she changed over to iPhone, and it's been over a year. She still hasn't decided which one she likes better, because she has 2 phone numbers, and one of them's an Android and the other one's I don't know how she keeps her head straight, to be honest with you. But
I'm doing the same thing. And I'll tell you what, the finger hits the wrong letter because they're just slightly off, but you
know,
know, I agree with you, David. There's pros and cons.
I couldn't even imagine, because when I'm doing a show, I usually have 2 Dell computers and at least 1 Mac, and I get so twisted going between the 2 all the time because they don't have the same commands, you know. It just kills me. So I don't know how she deals with these 2 phones.
Well, you know, a lot of us, we're the kind of people who create our own environments. You know, you have a workspace, you lay it out so it works right for you. You know, you don't take what they put out as the standard. And what I found with the Android is that you can lay it out any way you want. And with Apple, you have to lay it out their way. And
oh,
so,
Mac is big into their own way. You don't change anything. You either accept it or you go back to the Android or DOS system, Windows system.
well, that was my big thing with the Android, is that I create my phone is like sitting in a comfortable cockpit. Everything I need is right there. And the iPhone is not like that. And I have to find out the ways of getting around that so that I'm as comfortable in my iPhone cockpit as I am in my Android cockpit. So we'll have to see. But right now, today was the last day of the 2-week no questions asked Apple return policy. So I have, and so I had other things. I got a new alarm system. I got a new surveillance system, all the stuff I had to do. So I didn't even get to the phone until about 5 days ago. And in the last 5 days, I've been working really hard on, downloading and finding what to do and calling Jan and calling Ken and Newman, and both tell me, oh, you have really good questions, meaning they don't have the answers. So it's like, I'm trying to figure it out. But after today, I'm committed. So we'll have to see.
Yeah, the great thing about the Apple products is the good thing about it is they only let you do it their way, which keeps them very indestructible, you might say. Right. The bad thing is you can only do it their way.
Yeah.
Well, I'll tell you, one of the big differences is when you get an Android phone, as your phone gets older, it can no longer update to the newest version of Android, and you're stuck. The Android I'm using is 4 or 5 years old, and with Apple, it's not a problem. How many
to
years?
To a certain degree. My iPad, I have to get a new one because the new version wouldn't run on the old one. And I've had my Mac PowerBook, which I'm using right now. It's my home computer per se, and I have Smart on it, right? And this one I've had for 7 years, and it's updated and been fine. But the new 64-bit system, it can't do. Right. So my next jump is going to be, another $4,000 into a Mac laptop, but everything's got to come along with me, and everybody has updated, all the audio programs you have to be able to run on it. So I'm sort of at almost a crossing point right here.
Well, I just bought the Mac 16, the MacBook Pro 16 now, because it's a new threshold, and I don't want the new M1 chip because that's too far into the future for me. I don't want to change everything about the computer. So I usually end up buying a computer when the last thing I want is disappearing. The last time they put an optical drive in and they said, after this, we're eliminating the optical drive, that's the one I bought. And that's the one I've been using up until now, because believe it or not, I still need to burn CDs and DVDs for my app.
Yeah, I hate that. Yeah, it's not built in anymore.
Right. So I got the new one because this is the last one before the M1. So that's kind of how I buy my stuff. I'm the last guy in line, avoiding the changes.
One of the things that makes me crazy about the phone is you can't plug your headphones into it, and, for walking around talking on the phone, the Apple ones are fine, but they fall out of my ears, and, I have a Sony set of earbuds and I have an Ultimate ear set, and I just want to be able to use different things for different things I'm listening to for different reasons.
What about that little adapter?
Well, there's a little adapter, but Mac won't let people have full control over it. So the little adapter will let you listen, but I discovered when the phone rings, you can't talk on the phone with it. The microphone section doesn't work, even if it's a, if it's a 4-pin.
Right.
It just won't let it. And the more I read about it, the more I find out that, that's a Mac thing, that they don't want, people to be able to do that. Huh. So as far as plugging the adapter in and listening to music on the plane, it's fine. But if you're walking around in the airport listening to something, somebody calls you, you're screwed, because you got to unhook everything, and talk on the phone and then plug everything back in again. It's just stupid. Yeah. They need to put a headphone jack back on the damn thing and leave us alone.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
You
the
know, I
most
don't know.
irritating.
I have these the AirPods, and when they work great. They work amazing. But when they don't work,
But
it's so frustrating.
yeah. And they got to put USB plugs back on the MacBook Pros again. It's like, stop with the damn dongles. I got a whole bag of shit I have to carry around for this thing. It drives me nuts.
When I got my new phone, they came out with the USB-C plug, and I'm like, no one had the USB-C box connector. You got to buy Apple's, and it's like, really, just.
And they're $80, you know?
Exactly. Just be normal like everybody else.
Ka-ching.
Yep. See, they don't want to be normal. That's what I mean. The things that they do good, and it's good, but at the same time, it's not good.
Exactly.
No. My understanding of the new ones are all going to be USB-C because of Europe standardizing on the charger. So Apple's going to have to start playing ball.
Well, they're putting USB-Cs in the cars now. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
Have you watched the car videos? Oh my.
Yeah.
Yep. All the new cars.
I'm telling you, USB-C is, you know, you don't have to think about which way you're plugging it in. It goes in both sides.
Which way you plug it in? What are you really saying? What are you really saying?
You know, that's it.
So the other one the past week that's an interesting is that I heard over the weekend that the was it the Treasury Department and some others been hacked, and they were talking by a foreign government, and they said that they got in through and have been in for a while through the Microsoft 365 has bugs in it that lets hackers through. Like, oh, that's great.
365, Jesus.
No, there were actually people still using Windows 95 in the government. I mean, it's amazing. Some of our most sophisticated weapon systems, I hear that's still using Windows 95. It's just amazing. I mean, you know, hey, I'm sure that they have Windows 95 on that Boeing. What is that? Boeing 777 or whatever you want. You know, 737 Max. Who's going to take that plane? I mean, I've never ever looked at. You know, well, I'm not flying right now, but I know when I look. You know, you never look at what kind of plane you're flying on. You know, I want to go. I want to go from Las Vegas to the point B. You know.
When I'm doing my plane tickets, I always see what plane, because you know what? You pick your seats and they're all laid out different, you know?
Yeah.
And if I'm going to be uncomfortable, I'm going to be uncomfortable as least as possible. I look at plane brands and sizes and, you know, all the numbers all the time.
Yeah, but the question is do you trust the 737 Max? Which I do. You know, it's like, you know, when the MGM Grand in Vegas caught fire and killed all those people, and then they opened up again, it was the safest hotel in the world because they couldn't afford not to be.
And so, the pilots, you know, the pilots of the 737, they're going to be watching everything,
right?
Making sure. So I'll jump on that plane.
I wouldn't have a problem. I wouldn't have a problem.
Yeah, that's the first plane I'd look for.
That's why I want wind shear. I want it all. I know that pilot's paying attention. I don't want a smooth flight where he falls asleep and it flies into a mountain. I want it all. Hail.
Yeah.
And goodbye.
Well, that kind of reminds me. I don't know why it reminds me of a joke, but it's about you know, how you want to die, you know. And I always there's a comedian, I wish I could remember who said this first, but he says, you know, when I die, I want to die in my sleep like my grandfather rather than the passengers in his car, you know. And that to me is just the ultimate thing, you know. On a plane, you're so helpless. You're so out of control, you know. It's almost like driving with a bad driver and you're in the passenger side, and he looks over and he says, it's a good thing my brake pedal works because yours went through to the floor. You know, it's like, you know, but you're completely helpless when you're flying on a plane, and you got to hope that, you know, the pilot knows what they're doing, you know.
I want a 737 app for my phone so that I can watch over the guys in the cockpit, you know. We could send them little text, hey, you didn't do that right.
Yeah. I think
none of us can stand a small critique about the front of house mix. I just have to note this, okay?
Well, how about that analogy? I want my front of house guy on an analog console because he's not hitting a bunch of presets and just sitting there phoning it in. He's got to mix that analog board.
There you go. There you go.
Yeah.
Well, the other one too, that I've wondered about is when I have to go to the airport and go somewhere, is that I'm sitting in front there to drag the plane up to the gate, and the pilot comes out the corner and says, "Hey, everybody, I'm back. We're going to go flying. I've been on furlough." And he goes out there at the end of the runway and pushes go, and there's not been any jet fuel through that plane in a year, and the pilot hasn't pushed any buttons in a year. How good are you going to feel going with him?
Okay, I take it back. I'm not flying again.
Yeah. I mean, hey, look, I'm not going to fly on that 737 MAX until I know Sully Sullenberger's flown it a few times. You know, that's it.
He said he'd fly on it. No problem.
So that's an interesting question, though. Does anybody think that the pilots are going to go through a week of brush up on their certified plane, whatever they were certified on last, before they get out there? Or are they just going to call up Joe pilot that hasn't flown in a year and a half and stick them in a plane?
But the planes are in the air right now. The pilots haven't stopped flying. They just are flying a lot less.
Well,
there's not as many flights coming into Burbank, that's for sure.
Except for one pilot, Chuck Yeager. He's not doing any more flying. But
too soon, Jan. Too soon.
Oh, too soon. Oh, okay.
Hey, has anybody ever been on a plane emergency? A real emergency on a plane?
I have. When I was very young. What happened was this is back in 1969 when I was on my way to basic training, and we took off from Kennedy Airport, and the pilot came on the air as we were pulling into Dallas, where we were going to land, and the pilot said, "We've been just radioed by the airport that they found a airplane tire on the ground, and they believe it might be ours. So what we're going to do is we're going to come in low. We have to pass. The only way we could tell is we have to pass low pass by the tower. So if it's not our plane, we're going to come in and we're going to land. If it is our tire, then we're going to kick the engines up to full, and we're going to bank up to the right." And so everybody on the plane at that moment in time had the same thought. "Oh, Lord, please let him land the plane. I don't want to hear those engines go." And we went past the tower, and then the engines came on really loud, and they pulled up to, and then we all had to go into the crash position, down with your head in your lap. And it was a very scary moment, but we did land on 3 wheels. So.
Did you, no sliding at all, huh?
No sliding at all. As a matter of fact, where are the days where people used to applaud? "Hey, we landed. All right. Yeah." Nowadays, nobody even wears a suit on a plane, unless you're a businessman, people have just been, you know what I don't understand? The one thing I don't understand is how people can wear, flip-flops on an airplane.
My feet would be so cold.
It just seems to me that you got to have protection. If you got to get out, you want to wear something that you can move fast. Flip-flops just don't do it for me.
I was on one once. The stratosphere opened up as the stratosphere, and I got invited to go as a VIP, which turned out to be not a big deal. But we flew to Vegas for the weekend, and then we're flying back to Burbank. And the pilot gets on and says, "We can't get the landing gear down on one wheel. We have a light that says the landing gear is not down. So we got to do a flyby to see if it's on by the tower, and if it's not on or on." Anyway, so they decide to go to Ontario Airport because the tower is in a better position and the runway is longer. So we fly by, and sure enough, the wheel's not down. So now the pilots decides they're going to take it into a steep dive and pull out as fast as they can and maybe snap the wheel into place. So we go, all of a sudden we're in 0G. It's like, whoa, look at you. And I'm taking my pen and I'm tossing it up in the air. And then we're at the bottom, and now we're in like 2G. And my ears my neck veins are popping out. And I figured, oh man, that's over. No, we do it again. Another 0G. And another down, then we fly by the tower again, and wheel's not down. So he says, "We're going to make an emergency landing. Everybody with your heads down, and nobody get out, nobody move until we until we tell you it's okay to move. Just stop there. So we're coming down, and I'm over the wing that's got no wheel. So I'm saying, okay, fire, I'm in a bad position. This is not good. But I'm on the aisle, and I'm only 1 seat away from the emergency exit, which would be over the wing, which might be on fire. So I'm like this. Anyway, the plane comes in, and because of the way first of all, we see the runway is lined with all the emergency vehicles, and we see that they sprayed foam on the runway. And the plane comes in, and they don't use reverse thrusters. They allow the plane to go slow. The guy said at 300 or 160 miles an hour, the plane can't fly anymore. That's when we're going to be right above the ground, and it'll hit the ground, and we'll keep going. So he comes in really slow and low, and then he hits the ground, and the plane is still flying on the ground, and there's no air brakes. So it turned out to be the smoothest landing you can possibly be on, because the plane slowed organically. And then very slowly, the left side tilted down. But on the 737s, if you ever look at them, they have to take the engine and unround the bottom of the engine because it's so close to the ground. So it really only tilted a little bit, and the guy kept the nose right on the lines down the center of the runway, and that was it. Now, what happens when you lose that wheel, the front of the plane goes up in the air and the back of the plane goes down. So the pilot said, everybody stay seated, we're okay. That's the applause that Jan was waiting for. And then we got out the back of the plane, and with the back door was about 6 feet up in the air. And there was a little slide, and we got out of the plane. And so I took pictures. And then I got on all the news broadcasts, because I'm the only one who took pictures. Because like I said, pictures are important to me. I take my camera out, and I got pictures of me, the firemen looking up at me to jump out, thinking, what's this idiot doing with a camera? And we got out, and I got interviewed in LA on 3 networks. And then I sold the pictures. I made money on it. But the plane was.
You can't show the pictures anymore.
What was that?
You can't show anybody the pictures because you don't own them anymore.
No, I only gave them one use. I had been working with Myrna's uncle, who's a photographer, and I found out about one use rights, and they could use it one time, and I still own the pictures.
Oh, very nice. Very nice. How many people were on that plane?
It was full. It was Vegas gamblers. And, they were all drinking and carrying on the way home. So there was mostly like quiet, a couple of people crying. But we got a letter from the president of Southwest. Just such a nice guy. He gave us a full refund. He gave us free tickets. He was so grateful we were okay. Nobody was hurt. There was someone who claimed they were hurt, but it was somebody just trying to take advantage of the situation. But we had to get back from Ontario back to Burbank. So they had to find rides for, 85, 90 people to get us back. But
yeah. Southwest, I believe, has the best safety record of all airlines. Isn't that
right.
true?
They never had a crash until they had one a few years ago, but that was it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's a great airline.
Qantas never crashed.
Hey, look who's there. Kenny Newman's here.
Kenny, we're all curious to know how was the show, or you're home.
I am, yeah. It was good. It was weird but good. It was like doing a little bar band in a warehouse with curtains in it.
Right?
How good could it be? No audience, no PA. It was kind of
So you're just listening to the monitors and your headphones, right?
Well, I just mixing on a pair of near fields, and they were sending it out, So hopefully they liked it. Everybody seemed to be very happy with how it went. I wasn't even the only audio person there. Alex was also there doing the sound for, being the final mixer for the thing. It was a KB Home, like kind of business meeting-y thing. They usually do it as a gathering in Vegas, and they were going to just call it off. Well, they called off the gathering in Vegas, but they were going to call it off altogether. And they said, oh, no, you should do something. So they decided to do this, virtual thing. So they had this 4-hour-long virtual thing. It was kind of interesting. But they were all just, patting each other on the back and that kind of stuff and saying what a great year they had. And so it was interesting to learn that they build homes, right? So the housing industry is doing really well this year, and KB Home in particular is having a great year, better than usual year. They said it started off normal, and then took a huge dip when the pandemic first was announced, but then huge increase in home buyers later in the year. Go figure, huh? It just, wow, how about that? And so all their suppliers, they were congratulating all their suppliers on keeping up with the demand and everything. All these different companies that provide all the things to make their homes that they count on. It could have totally screwed them because people maybe couldn't get to work or whatever because of the pandemic. But no, they still did their thing and produced a lot of homes.
Ken, do you think that's because people are staying home and the home is taking on a lot more value now?
Good, I guess so. I know that the real estate market is booming, right?
Yeah, I work for BHI, which is a consortium of all the home builders, and KB Home is one of our members.
There you go. It's a big. They're one of the biggest builders in the country, right?
Yeah. We aggregate all the builders, and we do this other thing called BDX. You can look it up, just search for it. It's all the digital aspects of touring new homes, focused on new homes.
Yeah, it's totally changed, right? I mean, because now it has to be virtual. They can't have them in person. And so they've really adapted well, apparently. I'm like thinking, so how is the real estate market booming? One of the major factors in the real estate market in the past used to be open houses, and open houses are kind of not allowed. So what do? Tell me, Bruce.
Okay, so we were looking at condos about 4 months ago, townhouses, and we were down in Orange County. And how they were doing it, was when we wanted to come and look, they have digital locks on all the units, right? All of them, and they assign you a time and a code, and they must have a master computer that sends the codes so that we can get in, because our code wouldn't work during the hours that we weren't supposed to be there. So as we walked around and toured the homes, we had to see Model 5 and then Model 2 and then Model 1 in order, the ones that we were looking at. And there were couple of other families that were sort of, everybody was doing their thing, but not on top of each other. So and if somebody was in there when you got there, because it overlapped maybe by a couple of minutes, you have to wait outside, and then they'd shut the door, and then you'd plug your code in and the door would unlock. So that's what we experienced for that big townhouse.
So it's not like they sort of sanitize the whole house in between viewers. It's just that they don't want to have two people in the house or two parties in the house at once, right?
Right. Yeah, and everybody had a block of time. You couldn't even get in to where the salespeople were unless you had an appointment, unless you were scheduled to be there. It was really kind of weird, but it worked.
So did you get one? Did you get a condo in Orange County?
So here's the deal. We lined up a really nice one, and because I do a lot of the Builders Association shows, I got put pretty high on the list and got a really good discount on upgrades and everything. So we did not the down payment, but the I don't know, it's a chunk of money you put down to hold your spot, right? And what happened was
earnest money or something, right?
Right.
Yeah,
security deposit. Right. Well, what happened is, in order to qualify for the loan, because I don't want to sell my house until after this summer, we had to refi this house and refi Annie's house so that our debt ratio was down low enough. And I was going to pull 100,000 out of this house to make my down payment high enough. So all the percentages worked, right? And what happened is, by the time we had to commit and lose that 16 grand that we put down, none of the financial parts had come through yet. And so we decided at that point to back out. And it was better that we did anyway, but
So you're moving to Orange County, or are you adding a property there?
Well, we were going to add a property and then sell this place this summer or next summer. See, my wife moved in with me, and because for tax reasons, she had to be here for 2 years to get the full tax deduction. Well, so we wanted to rent her house out, but we signed a 3-year contract for the house rental. So it's up in the 2 years is up this summer. So we were going to put this house up for sale this summer, and then tell them they could get out of their rental agreement if they found a house that they wanted to buy, and sort of weigh that out. So we were going to buy a townhouse, and sit in it for 2 years and then resell it again. to move where eventually we're going to be in Annie's house because it's the better place for us to grow old in.
So why Orange County? You don't live in Orange County now, right?
No,
You
it was
live up
actually in
Sun
Whittier.
Valley, right?
It was in Whittier. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Just because it was a great community, and we're always looking. We look all the time.
Okay, interesting.
But,
how about that?
There wasn't
you real estate moguls, you.
Well, one of the reasons is my wife is Korean and she likes to stay near the Korean communities, and Whittier had a big Korean community. So, we were,
there you go.
Figured we'd go down there. Yeah.
How neat.
Do you have kimchi in your refrigerator right now? Is there some kimchi in?
Yes.
So what do you do for the smell? I mean, really?
Nothing. Some of it I really like, but you can make it a million different ways, and everybody's got their own version. But
Do you have
when
room
I'm
in the backyard to bury it?
I'm sorry?
Do you have room in the backyard to bury it?
Yeah, really? Yeah. We actually, this house we do. Yeah, I got about almost an acre of land. So
that's right. It's hard to chew on Korean food. You keep hearing meow, meow.
Oh, jeez.
Oh my,
you're bad.
Oh my, we're live now.
Hey now,
Kenny, one of the things that they also do is a 3D videos of homes, so you can walk through the house remotely. That's a big
3D.
thing.
What's 3D about it?
Well, when they're with a 360-degree camera, and then you can walk through the house.
360.
On the
Oh,
floor,
really? Oh, no
stuff.
shit.
You can move into every room and take a look around and spin around and look up and down and look at the entire place.
Now, here's the question: was that just introduced this year during the pandemic, or has that been in use already and we just didn't see much use of it?
I'd say a couple of years.
So it just didn't get. It got a lot more use this year because
it took off this year.
It's like Zoom,
right?
It's like Zoom. Zoom was around, but it wasn't.
How interesting.
Well, familiar with Chris Fenwick is doing? Did you? Because I know he's big on that. Does he talk to you about that? Yeah, he's got some sort of new technology that he's working with that. And I'm not really 100% sure it works, but it's definitely coming along, that technology of showing homes in 3D and virtual reality. So yeah, definitely.
That and drones have changed everything when it comes to selling homes.
All right. So drones give you the view of the outside, the property, right?
Yeah, you get to see the property from up above.
They don't fly a drone through the inside of the house, do they?
No, it's all for the outside, but it's changed the way people look at property and look at homes. You can see it from the outside, you can see it from the inside, and never leave your home.
Yeah, they use Matterport for the inside. That's one of the technologies. I don't know what. I'm pretty up with Chris Fenwick, but I'm not sure what he's using. I'll ask him. I'll see him tomorrow morning. But
all very interesting, though.
Matterport is the state of the art, as far as I know. There may be something that's eclipsed that. I don't know.
Yeah. And also keep in mind, Kenny, that number one, the interest rates are really low. And two, people are living at home and they're looking around and saying, we need a bigger house, we need a smaller house. It's people buying homes. That's what.
So it's probably the interest rates that's the biggest factor in the home market, right?
Yeah, my interest rate for my refi, which is due to go through by the end of the month, is 2.9.
Wow. Yeah, we refied ours at 2.75. I thought we did pretty well.
Oh yeah. Considering the first place I bought out here, it was 7.5.
Right? Oh my God, that's a huge difference.
In 1985, I thought that was a great deal.
It was at the time, right?
It was, yes. But that's when you made money in your savings account too, which you don't.
Also, yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah, it's but right now, in my neighborhood right now, the homes are going like crazy. It's like back to 2000 and 2002 days when I first moved here, whereas the homes were selling before they could put the sign on the ground. And now my house is now worth more than it's ever worth before, even in the peak of 2007. And I am getting anywhere between 4 and 5 offers a day on my house, of course, sight unseen, and I don't know how real they are. And of course, I have RoboKiller blocking all those calls, but they're sending me letters and texts, and so the property is very, very difficult to come by because the buying is outrageous. There are more buyers than there are sellers.
There's 18 houses on my street. and 2 have sold since all this came down, and they went for 50,000 more than the asking price. So it was a bidding war for both houses. So
Wow.
it's
Wow.
crazy. It's crazy.
Wow. Yeah, I'm just looking at Zillow. My house has gone up 5.4% in the last 30 days. 5% in the last 30 days. That's unheard of, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, usually you're lucky if it's 5% a year.
Exactly, right? Well,
no, it's that's a lot. You know, where you are, Ken. I have a friend that lives there, Paul. You know Paul, and he was going to he wanted to buy a farm, but right now the farms are going crazy. People are buying farms to live on the farms faster than ever before.
It's also
Because
the house in East Nashville is worth a lot of money right now too.
Yeah, well put. So
yeah, all very interesting.
We're getting into the Christmas season, and I'd like to share that I've only gotten one Christmas card this year, and I don't know if you guys recognize who that's from, but it's the Hey Now guy, you know.
Look,
and I want to thank you for that card. My question to you guys is basically,
kind of looks like that, doesn't it?
That's exactly right. That's
You
exactly.
sent one to yourself? Wow.
Yeah, I kept them here.
Yeah, he sent one to himself. So, what are you guys thinking about for Christmas? Is anybody in a generous mood? Are you thinking about buying lots of gifts this year, or what are your plans?
Let me tell you, my theory on Christmas gifts in a year that I have next to zero income is none. No gifts for anybody. Sorry, bah humbug.
Oh man, am I disappointed?
Yeah, we stopped a long time ago. My rule is once you're out of college, you get no more gifts.
Oh, okay. But I mean, normally
Merry
I would
Christmas
still,
and a hug, and that's it. You get a card, and that's about it.
I would still give gifts to everybody in my family, everybody that's close to me. But I said, you know what, this year, not going to happen.
My wife, that's about it. My kids get a hug.
How old are they, Bruce?
28 and 29.
Okay.
They don't need gifts. What do they need gifts for? When they're in college,
need a little love from dad.
When they're in school, I would get them little things that they needed, or $50 music cards or whatever. But not anymore. They all got jobs.
Right.
Then hopefully they give you gifts.
No, I don't even want them to do that because then I feel guilty. It's just a no gift thing. We just act it all out.
Yeah, we're into no gifts also. But my wife, being the wonderful human being that she is, we went to Target the other day and bought $100 worth of kids' toys and gave it to the fire department to try and make some other kids.
Aw, that is so nice, Myrna and David. That's awesome.
Well, Myrna, she's the one who said, I want to do something for kids who are going to have a horrible Christmas. So
that is actually a really good idea.
Yeah.
That's a great
idea. I went into Target and bought a bag of charcoal, and I was going to give out these little briquettes to my neighbors, put it on their door. Better than my idea. But no, actually, I was thinking of buying, sanitary wipes, those little wipes, Lysol wipes, but I can't find them. They're nowhere to be found.
Maybe cases of toilet paper or paper towels, maybe.
No. I think something, like maybe some hand sanitizers, little bottles of hand sanitizers. That might be a good gift to give to people, Of course, there is always that one gift that never fails. And those are pictures of Benjamin Franklin, And I've had some of them printed up and framed. But then I decided, I'll just keep them for myself.
Didn't want to spend any jail time, huh?
No, they were really, artist renditions of Ben Franklin, my favorite, my hero.
Okay, good. Yeah, that's nice.
But that's it, So anyway, I hope that everybody could find a way to be into that Christmas spirit. And, we're going to meet one more time before Christmas. So we'll be able to talk about this, and it's going to be free for all. I'm not going to, unless there's some serious major news, we're just going to talk about whatever's on our mind. And if everybody wants to submit a subject, send me an email or text me or whatever, then we'll include you in that. David Dansky, I want to thank you for sending me so many articles this week. You gave me a lot to think about. I really appreciate that. And now at this point in time of the mastermind group, I like to cover, some things worth watching and some tips and tricks, or something, shit we'd like to, cool shit that we'd like to have. So does anybody have anything they want to share in that respect, of either something cool that they've just seen and an experience that they want to share, or a tip of something that they've seen on Netflix or YouTube or wherever that they want to share, or anything like that? Paul, I see your hand up, although you didn't have to raise your hand. What's up?
Oh, I just watched the Queen's Gambit. What a great show. It's a seven episode limited series, they call it. It's not like the full series, but beautiful cinematography, beautiful storyline. And you think, well, am I going to watch a series about chess? And you think, oh no, I'm not going to watch that. But it soars way beyond chess into a great, interesting realm. I highly recommend The Queen's Gambit. It's on Netflix.
It's
Yeah,
the
it's
number one
really
show.
It's really a good study in human nature, and that actress really, she just nails that character. She is so true character.
Nails it, absolutely.
I love the ending. I'm not going to share what the ending is, but I do love the ending. It does end, but it does end in such a way that they can make it again if they would. I forgot the name of the guy. There was a famous chess player, male chess player, that they wrote.
Bobby something. Bobby Fischer.
Well, yeah, but Kasparov had something to do with the production.
Yeah, the chess aspects are very well researched. So you're not seeing just like a fake chess thing. It's like
they're real games. They're real famous games that they play.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the chess industry has benefited greatly from it.
Yeah.
I heard.
Oh yeah.
You can't even find the chess set right now. It's the hottest gift going out. Chess.
And I'm guessing the online chess playing websites are are booming.
I would guess. Grandmaster Gary Kasparov. Anybody? Chess players are really crazy.
Gary Kasparov.
Yeah, a lot of chess players, they really have some serious fetishes, man. There was this one guy that used to surround himself with women's shoes when he, heavy fetishes, because I guess it's such a cerebral game. Chess, and those players that play it really well, they see the moves 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. The better chess player they are, the further in the future they actually see the moves they're going to make.
Yeah, the lead actress in this, she was in an orphanage, and she learned to play chess from the janitor in the orphanage. She'd go down, sneak down in the basement, play chess with the janitor, and at night she would lay back, and on the ceiling she would see all these chess moves. She'd see the whole match. The pieces moved around on the ceiling. It was fantastic.
If you haven't seen it, I recommend
effect.
it highly. I recommend it highly as well. Smokey Robinson. Anybody see the Smokey Robinson video that's running around where he mispronounces Hanukkah? Calls it Chanukah. I guess it's
So it wasn't a joke. He wasn't trying to make a joke or something.
I'm not really 100% sure, but we'll throw the link in the chat.
Cool.
He wasn't trying to make a joke. He was paid $300 to make a video for this guy's mother to wish her Happy Hanukkah, and he mispronounced it. It's really funny.
Oh my God, that's funny.
It was just a fail.
Cameo thing, probably, huh?
Yes,
Yeah.
Cameo. That's the name of the service, Cameo. And now I believe Facebook is going to be offering that service as well. Facebook is getting. Could you imagine? There are celebrities for $99. You can have Melissa Etheridge sing a song for you.
Are you serious? Only $99?
Melissa Etheridge, $99.
I saw on Penn and Teller's Instagram. He mentioned something about Cameo also, like $50 or something.
Yeah, I mean that doesn't say a lot for these celebrities, but
No,
the
it
reality
doesn't.
is Facebook is picking up on it too. And we spoke about Apple. Apple is now causing Facebook a lot of grief because basically about the privacy issue for advertising. Apple is going to be blocking there's a way for you could see if you allow advertisers to see your choices of what you like. Apple is going to take that away from them in the next version of 14.0. When Apple releases the next version of the new software on the iOS, none of the other companies will have access to your location or to your. You will be able to shut off anything that you want so that they can't see it, so they can't give you directed ads. And
Well,
I hear
that's
about this
good.
all the
Good
time.
for us, right? Good for us.
Yeah.
I've heard stories
it's a good
about where
thing, yeah.
somebody is. Yeah, I've heard stories where two people are talking about something and in the same house, and one person looks up something that they're trying to buy, and the next thing you know, a few seconds later, you see an ad for that on your computer.
Yeah,
question.
another good one that I watched, it's kind of a guilty pleasure, is called Ava.
Oh yeah,
Jessica. It's number 4 in the U.S. today. Number 4.
Oh really? It's very
An
good.
elite assassin. An elite assassin wrestling with doubts about her work scrambles to protect herself and her estranged family after a hit. And Gina Davis is in it, and it's just fantastic. Jessica Chastain plays the lead role in it.
Yeah.
Is that a current film?
Yeah, it's just out right now. It's on the USA Network. It's really, really good. Good point, Paul.
Here's another one.
I watched it last night.
How about who has seen the Bee Gees? How Deep Is Your Love?
That's on HBO Max. I don't
heard
have
about
HBO.
it.
No, is it on HBO Max? Oh,
yes,
it's
I believe
incredible.
so.
It's the story of the Bee Gees with interviews and everything, and it's just totally amazing. You kind of forget how amazing they were until you see something like this, and then you're just blown away because their songwriting was unbelievable. So
Alfredo, do you see Alfredo's question in the chat there, Jan?
No, Ken.
So he says, can the group discuss the current status of government financial help focusing on our industry? I've heard venues may receive help, but who's advocating for rental and production companies? So I would tell you, Alfredo, that the main advocate that we have is a guy named Michael Strickland, and Michael Strickland is the owner or whatever of or in charge of Bandit Lights in Nashville, and he is amazing. He is all of our heroes because he has spoken in front of the government bodies, the Senate, Jan, or Congress? I forget.
Well, you missed that part of you could watch the beginning of it, and we went into great depth of that.
Oh, cool. Cool. There you go.
But I want to point out that I didn't point out earlier strong enough, and that's Save Our Stages, which is the organization, and they are very, very active in saving all of the venues. And by the way, I heard that that Meyer Sound right now in their area of San Francisco are investing money in a lot of the little theaters that are going bankrupt to help them stay alive as well. So I'm sure we'll see some manufacturers get involved in that as well. But that's really a good thing. It's a really good thing that Meyer is doing. But stay tuned because next week we'll have an update for sure, and you might want to watch what's going on. The links are in the chat about the Senate hearings that took place and the congressional hearings with Michael Strickland. As a matter of fact, if you didn't get it, we'll put it in. Tina, put that link back into the chat a second time so he can be able to go up and watch the hearing. But other than that, that's really cool. So I got something.
Yeah, Strickland was on here, right, Jan? He was
many times.
Yeah, he's been
many
on
times. So, how many people here play guitar? Doesn't matter. I've got this thing, and I'll show you what it is. It's called the Roadie 2, and as you can see, it goes on the peg, and I will show you what it looks like in real life. This is what it looks like.
Yeah,
and
wait for Roadie 3, man. Roadie 3 is going to be way better.
The Roadie 3 is coming out, but I needed to buy this for a Christmas present for my cousin. And this is the most amazing tuning device that I have ever experienced. It made me cry. It was almost like the first time I did Viagra when I was drunk, and but it's that kind of experience. Whereas you turn it on and you put it on the peg and you plunk the string and it automatically tunes it to Nat's ass. It is amazing. I can't recommend it high enough. It's really, really amazing. It's called the Roadie 2. The Roadie 3 is coming out, which is even going to be better. So when the Roadie 3 comes out, if anybody wants a Roadie 2, I might just sell it to you so I can get the Roadie 3. Another thing that is really, really cool, if you take notes and you have to write things down, but then you want to save them to your computer, I can't recommend this enough either. It's called the Rocket Book. And basically it has an app on your phone. And let me open it up so you can see. So you take your notes. You have to use a special pen, which is a Pilot Friction. You take your notes and you see the right there, the QR code. On the bottom of every page is a QR code. Now, on one side it has lines, and on the other side it has dots. And you could draw whatever you want, write whatever you want, and then you take your phone and you scan it using their app, and it not only does it make a PDF file for you, but it will also translate it into your handwriting into actually text, and it's pretty amazing. And it's like $14 in the
So those of you that wanted to get me the gift for Christmas, that sounds like a good gift.
All right, I'll keep that in mind. That in mind.
Good luck with this handwriting. I'll tell you, if it can handle that.
I bet it could.
I think it will. And the last thing I want to share about something really cool is for those people who have the new iPhone. Now, Paul and I were talking about it before everybody got in the room, and that has to do with the new device that Apple has put on their phone. Paul, what was it called?
Yeah, it's called LiDAR, and John Idelson, who's in here, I hope he goes on camera, but he knows all about it, and it's incredible. And we were talking about BDX, the company I work for, and how you can scan inside of homes. This is going to revolutionize the scanning and making of 3D virtual worlds, because you have a tool on your iPhone now that will scan perfectly any environment. So you could take your phone and run around a house or a building or an outdoor area, and it's just a matter of time before LiDAR hits the mainstream. When that hits mainstream, man, watch out. It's going to be amazing.
Well, there are two free apps that I would really like to share with you right now. One, believe it or not, is IKEA. The IKEA app is unbelievable. And it's a free app, and basically it uses AR, unbelievable. Whereas you put you scan the room, you go to the IKEA app, and at the same time, of course, you see a piece of furniture, and it puts it in the room, and you get a 3-dimensional view of that piece of furniture in your room, and it looks as real as possible that it could possibly look like on your phone. And the other app that I highly recommend is called Grab, GRAB And both of those apps, Grab AR is a paid app, but they give you like 6 free grabs per month that you could grab. And it actually creates a 3D dimensional item. You take a picture of, let's say, whatever you want, and it transforms it into 3D AR, and then you can move it around and put it anywhere in the picture as well, and it looks as real as can be. Oh, so I highly recommend those things. Anybody else have any recommendations?
LiDAR stands for light detection and ranging, and they're already using this on self-driving cars. That's how the self-driving cars function, and it's going to be. I can't understate the importance of how it's going to change everything with robotics and drones and assisted driving and mapping out room spaces with 3D virtual objects in them. It'll recognize all the objects that you focus on and reproduce those. So it's like connect squared to the max, you know.
Yeah. One thing I will say is Walmart is now using this technology, and Walmart is going to now introduce autonomous cars that are they're going to be trucks, and basically they're now going to be moving their merchandise from one of their warehouses to the other. It'll be driverless vehicles, and we're basically in the future right now. So that's what's new and exciting. So anyway, for those people that are watching online right now, I want to say thank you for watching. For those people in the room, we're not going anywhere right now, but for those people that are watching online, I want to remind you to click the like button. I really appreciate you coming. If you want to be in the room, DM us and we will put you on the Zoom panel. Next week's our Christmas show. So hey, be part of it, bring some ideas, and you could be part of it. Remember to give it the thumbs up, and most importantly, remember to share it with everybody. And I leave you with this: you make it happen. Make it happen by staying safe and healthy, and do what you can to make yourself happy. And we'll be here for you if you need us. So until then, till next week.
Wait, and you know, there might be some special guests next week since it is Christmas time. You just never know who might show up. They might be wearing like a red and white suit. You never know.
That's it. Ooh.